Hey guys, it's Hunter from Team Breakthrough, and we're getting into the new format now, and everyone wants to know what decks are going to be the top decks of the format. Now, after seeing the YCS weekend, which was last weekend, and doing a little playtesting of my own, I've put together a list of the top 5 decks that I think are going to be the best decks of the format. At number 5, we have Cosmos. And Cosmos is a new archetype in the TCG based on a futuristic version of The Wizard of Oz. And the deck is almost ready to take the TCG by storm, but not quite. It seems a little incomplete to me, and I think the deck needs a couple more cards to really push it to the top of the list. Now, admittedly, I haven't seen this deck played in person yet, but based on its showing and success at events, the deck is still an extremely strong competitor in the TCG, and that's what's landed it at number 5 on this list. At number 4, we have Ignites. Now, Ignites is an insanely fast deck in the current format that I think has a huge chance of dominating the meta. But it's still waiting on a couple of its support cards. There are a couple cards coming out pretty soon that I think is going to make the deck even stronger, faster, and more consistent because of the fact that it's going to have more Ignites to search with. Also, the Dracoslayers, which we're still waiting on some more of them to come out, seem like they go really well with Ignites, and I think that'll help push the deck to be better. Now, the main idea behind the deck is to repeatedly search Ignites by attributing them from your Pendulum Zones and putting them in your extra deck. And then it draws a huge power from being able to summon massive boards turn after turn. The deck can also utilize cards like Tyrant's Throw, Skill Drain, and a lot of other floodgates that is good against a lot of the meta, but it doesn't hurt the Ignites themselves. But the only downside of the deck is that it practically doesn't have any kind of late game, and the mid game is even a little iffy. But for that reason, I've left the new Warrior archetype at number 4. At number 3, we have Shaddoll Clowns. Shaddoll's have been one of the best decks of the game ever since their release, well over a year ago. The deck can have consistent outs to almost anything and can fairly reliably get to those outs with cards like Mathematician and Foolish Burial. The deck also has huge power plays with things like El Shaddoll Construct, Winda, and El Shaddoll Fusion to go for OTKs. Not to mention the deck has a huge ability to draw cards with Beast, search things with Hedgehog, and Falco special summons himself, netting you a lot of free advantage. Also, you can use Shaddoll Fusion to fuse with monsters directly from the deck, as long as your opponent has an extra deck monster, which is going to be pretty much anything. Anyway, the deck got a huge boost from the Clown engine, like a lot of other decks did, thanks to its ability to accommodate the clowns very well to use them for fusions and exceed plays. And now despite this, the deck just isn't consistent enough in today's meta, and the deck doesn't have very good matchups with a lot of the current meta. And that's through no particular shortcoming of their own, it's just kind of bad luck. Despite this, the clowns have given the deck just what it needed to land itself in the top 3, but due to poor matchups, I think this deck can't quite hold up against the rest of the meta. At number 2, we have Clifforts. Clifforts are easily one of the strongest decks of the format because of their anti-meta plays, as well as their ability to control the field is almost unparalleled, and not to mention, Towers kind of speaks for himself. In addition to having these massive power plays with Towers and controlling the board, they can also accommodate several anti-meta strategies such as Skill Drain, Lose One Turn, Necro Valley, and a lot of other floodgates, and just random generic anti-meta cards. And this makes the deck one of the most dangerous decks of the format, especially if you don't know the matchup very well or aren't equipped to deal with Towers and a massive supply of floodgates. Now that puts the deck at number 2, but I don't think the deck is strong enough to deal with our number 1 deck, which is coming up next. At number 1, we have Clown Necros. Clown Necros is definitely an amazing force in the metagame right now, and this is due partially to their insane consistency. The deck searches things that searches other things, that in turn searches other things that search other things that search things that search things. Basically, the deck can pick and choose its opening hand. And then their success is also due to their impressive power plays, as well as being almost untouchable because of defensive cards like Gungnir and Valkyris. The Clowns have only made the deck stronger because they can be attributed to some of the Necros monsters to gain a lot of advantage and make for some really consistent rank 4 plays, adding to the deck's already impressive status at the top. Alright guys, that's it for this list, and before I go, I want to go ahead and give out a couple of honorable mentions. Some of you may have noticed that Burning Abyss and Tellarknights didn't quite make the list. And that isn't because I don't think the decks will be good enough. I definitely think they are. They're some of the best decks of the format, without question. And the new way Konami is releasing the ban list, I think that means we could have one at any time now that Worlds is over and we're getting into the new format. I'm expecting Tellarknights to get hit fairly hard because they won Worlds, and Konami seems to always hit the decks that win Worlds in the TCG in the next ban list. Also, Burning Abyss has been dominating the North American scene, including winning the recent YCS Toronto, as well as taking the North American WCQ. So that I'm expecting the deck to get hit pretty hard. Also, Konami is going to want to try to push Cosmos, which is going to be the deck that should be taking its place pretty soon. So they're going to try to get people to stop playing Burning Abyss so that they can play that. If the decks don't get hit, I'm expecting Burning Abyss to take its spot at number 2 in front of Clifforts, and then Tellers are going to take a spot after Chagall's in 4th place. Now that's the actual end of this list, guys. I hope you liked it, and goodbye. This has been Hunter from Team Breakthrough. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have anything to say about it, please leave that in the comments section for me, and please subscribe to Team Breakthrough for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos. See you next time. Au revoir.